Hello and welcome to this lecture on Romanticism and the Romantic movement. Romanticism was born of turbulence and revolution, the Sturm und Drang, or storm and stress of the epoch, and Descartes' cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, tugged at the collective enlightened conscience, forcing many to reconsider their prior views. Is a human being defined solely as a rational animal, a political animal, or a social animal, moving through our world with a confidence that all phenomena can be explained ultimately through the application of rational principles and procedures? Or can we cast doubt on what we perceive to be objective reality, considering Descartes' dictum and his premise, I can doubt all things perceived by the senses, as they are subject to distortions and illusion, but the one thing I cannot doubt is that I am doubting. This view suggests that reality is subject to the perceptions of the individual. Hence, reality is subjective itself. Things do not exist unless you are there to perceive them. We move from Plato's cave dwellers in the allegory of the cave, who see shadows or illusions of reality on the wall, a shared illusion, to the notion that we are all seeing different shadows, illusionary or not. Hence, reality is unique and exists only as we uniquely perceive it. In a sense, we can't even agree that we ever see the same shared external reality, and consensus is virtually impossible. When this view is combined with Pascal's statement that the heart has reasons the mind knows not of, one can see how a focus on human emotion and individual psychology begin to come to the forefront of the Romantic era. Consider the ironic outcome of the French Revolution, a revolution based on Enlightenment principles, on reason and common sense, ultimately resulting in a mad frenzy of decapitations by guillotine, known as a reign of terror, hardly rational. Perhaps human beings are not just rational creatures. Perhaps we are likewise prone to the irrational. Herein lies the beginning of what would end up being discussed in well-established psychological terms as a subconscious mind by Sigmund Freud in the late 19th century and up until our current times. Along with this reaction to the limited view of human psychic makeup and potential as expressed in Enlightenment views, a view that held intellect and reason as primary, therefore a province of educated or aristocratic individuals and groups, there came an increased value in the ability of the common man, whose intuitive and emotional capacities were equal to all, and that government should be made up of these individuals and serve those interests as well. Nation building from the Enlightenment principles in America, France, Germany, while ultimately having various outcomes, reinforced the notion of the ordinary citizen as capable of a type of self-government, and there arose a nationalistic pride in that fact. In brief, the Romantic period was a dramatic reaction to the limited views of human potential and capacities as seen in the Enlightenment. It suggested that cold, common, and clear reality, as understood only by our reasoning, could be affected by our emotional, imaginative, and subconscious processes, an often darker, idiosyncratic, and nebulous understanding of what may be deemed real. Some essential differences and conceptual tensions between the two eras include: the Enlightenment emphasized objective reality, the Romantics subjective reality. The Enlightenment emphasized society, while the Romantics emphasized the wilderness. The Enlightenment viewed the insistence on reason, while the Romantics on the imagination's power. The Enlightenment on logic, the Romantics on intuition. The Enlightenment on the present, the Romantics on an exotic past. The Enlightenment focused on authority, the Romantics on the individual. And the Enlightenment emphasized civilization, while the Romantics reflected on nature. All these ideas and intellectual currents are reflected in the arts of the period. In painting, you might consider the exotic splendor in the work of Delacroix and Ingres, or the grisly depictions in Goya's Disasters of War series, or in his macabre, sometimes gruesome depictions of the black paintings, or in Fuseli's work, The Nightmare. In literature, the English Romantics, Blake, Wordsworth, Coleridge, Byron, Shelley, or Keats, or Goethe in Germany, or Poe, Hawthorne, and Irving in America. In music, listen to the works of Beethoven, Berlioz, Wagner, or the operas of Verdi. And philosophically speaking, Hegel, Kant, and Schopenhauer will really get your head spinning. So enjoy this focus of study into the dream world of subconscious desires and motivations, a stormy environment of wrenching emotion, altered perceptions, gothic spirits, and probably too much opium.